Hi, my name is Rohini Ramnathan. I'm a breakfast show host and I present Jhakaas Mornings on 91.9 FM Radio Nasha in Mumbai.
அனைவருக்கும் அன்பான வணக்கம். Hi, my name is Sanobar Sultana and I host Lose Control on Fever 91.9 FM Chennai. And I also like to take this opportunity to inform everybody that nobody in Chennai does lungi dance. Thank you. All right. Rohini, do you remember the first time you went on air?
Oh my God, of course I remember the first time I went on air. It was the 15th of January 2007. And it was my first time being a radio presenter. And it was a station that was launching. That was Fever 104, the station that you're on right now. And I was completely out of my wits, I guess. I was so excited. It was a great time. It was just so full of excitement. What about you?
Wow. The first time I went on air also as a morning show host. And as soon as I went on air, the power went off. So, generally, you know how we are, no? South Indians, we look at, auspicious timing and I thought, okay, usually...
Nalla naal.
Romba nalla naal.
But
really, the power to be able to sit there and talk to the entire city,
It's unparalleled.
Absolutely, yes.
I agree. Great. Let's go to our next question. When was the moment that you knew that you wanted to be a radio presenter?
What is the medium that gives a woman all the power and gives all the respect and gives you the opportunity to address the issues the way you want and how you want it? That was the moment. Actually, I studied environmental science and I wanted to be an environmental activist, to be very honest.
Correct.
And, I saw that, activism, when you go and tell somebody, hey, don't waste water, don't use plastic, nobody listens to you. But when you go on radio and you make a promo about it and you remind people in the most amazing way, that's when I knew I belong in front of the mic. Women deserve this power.
Oh, that's so wonderful that you made it about women, because I truly believe that it is a medium that is gender agnostic. I have seen more women be powerful because of this wonderful medium of radio. I never wanted to be a radio presenter. So that's where this started. However, 2 years into me doing the job and being on the air, I remember my city was under attack, and that was Mumbai. And this was the terrorist, attack. And that was the day when I was doing my job that went beyond entertainment. I was actually serving my city. I was giving them the updates that really mattered. I was connecting families to people who they were not able to connect to. Cell phone networks were down, but radio was on. That was the day I realized that I really want to be a radio presenter because I can be there when my city needs me the most. So it happened to me 2 years into the job.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, I studied environmental science. I was all set to become an environmental activist. I actually went to give a voiceover and figured out there was an audition.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how they were like, you're really good. You should be, they asked me, GK questions. I read the newspaper quite well. It just started over an email, I wrote a mail.
Amazing.
And can you imagine, I was sitting there thinking I'm going to give a voiceover, instead gave an audition.
Amazing.
And the audition that I gave was a story of a boy in Chennai city. They asked, say anything about Chennai. So the story that I gave was about how we were in a bus. And you know how jam-packed a bus is.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the bus stops. It's not a bus stop, okay? It stops. The conductor whistles, the bus stops, and a schoolboy gets down. So that conductor knows that this schoolboy has to get down here. This is an easier way for him to reach his school. And that's the moment I knew this is the most beautiful city in the world. And that's why I love you, Chennai.
That's such a great story. If you were auditioning right now, I'd hire you all over again. That's amazing. That's amazing.
All right, here we go. Who was your biggest support? And by the way, she's known as Ro, right? Radio ki heroine. So who was your biggest support when you first started out?
Oh, definitely my parents. My parents just wanted at that time for me to, get a job. It could have been any job. But I was very determined that I did not want to be working in a medium that would corrupt my visual sensibilities, because I had trained to be a filmmaker and I wanted to make movies and carry chola bags and make documentaries and change the world. And then I realized that my surname's neither Kapoor nor Khan. So I wish I was a Nepo baby. and that didn't happen. Yeah. Hashtag wish I was an Nepo baby. So that didn't happen. But then I remember I actually never, as I said earlier, I never wanted to be a radio presenter. I wanted to I could make shows. So if I could make movies, I could make shows, radio shows, of course. So I applied to be a producer, actually. I never auditioned for a radio presenter's job. And they hired me as a producer. But they knew already that they'd put this enthusiastic young cutlet on the air and, make me do that job. So at that point, when I just got my job, my parents were so ecstatic. They were like, oh my God, finally, she'll start paying us something for rent. So that was pretty great. That was pretty great. And they heard my first link. My mom still listens to my show every morning. It's been 16 years and she has been my forever audience of one, my mother. She's my forever fan. So.
When I started out, so my title also in my visiting card, presenter producer, because I also started as a weekend show host and then as a producer, right? That's how my story also started. At that time, my mother also wanted to package me off and get me married. So, somebody came home to see me and they heard that I was a producer. They thought I actually produced movies.
Wow.
So,
common. Yeah, they think we're very rich and all.
But yeah, my mom was my biggest critique and supporter. She would, listen to the shows and said, you don't have the charm. This other guy who comes in the night, he has this full-throated laugh. Why can't you laugh like that? So,
wow.
Yeah.
I hate it when they do that. They are so good. What about you? No, but I realized that now I don't live with my mother anymore, but the process is amazing. I have tea with her at least once a week. At least I try and do that. When I meet my mother for an hour, it's like my pop culture fix for the next 2 weeks. She knows everything, dude. She knows book my show pe kya chal raha hai. She knows what is happening at the NCPA. She knows which movie is doing a rerun. And generally she's so well aware as a person. And I think that is one of the things that through this podcast, I do want to tell people that radio presenters are, as you said, you had some GK questions asked to you. You have to know beyond what you need to know. It'll be great if you can talk about metaphysics, in one link, even a little bit, versus the Chandrayaan taking off. At least we should know a little bit about the Chandrayaan taking off. So I just feel our scope is so much wider than what we normally present, which is I'm a retro Bollywood station radio presenter. But tomorrow, if the Chandrayaan is taking off, then my audience expects to know, because we are in the business of making them smarter. And that to me is something that my mom always leaves with me.
Okay, also one thing we'd like to clarify here. A lot of people say, you talk so much, that's why you're a radio jockey. If you talk a lot, there is an issue with you,
Of course. We have links, guys. And our program directors, I'm one now, but over 2-minute links are just death. You don't want someone droning and going on and on. In fact, what is the least amount of time that you can say? So the most effective communication. That's important. All right. So our next question.
Yes. Do you have any rituals that you do when you get into the studio to prepare yourself before you go live?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the first thing is we have something called the CLB, which is the content link breakup. It's an Excel sheet which tells you what you're going to do literally in every link of your show. The producer and the radio jockey together work on it. It's sacrosanct. For a breakfast show, you prep at least a day prior and you know what you're going to do before you go in. However, the delivery, there's no script. Everybody asks this question. Is it scripted? Is it live? No, you know what you're going to talk about, but your delivery is completely spontaneous. It's at that moment what you want to say.
There's no ritual. There's just lots of prep. And over a point of time, right? But you don't think on air. Thinking on air is very dangerous.
You don't think when you're live. It's yeah, you don't do that.
Then someone's doing Carnatic music on air, they have not prepared for the show.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But since we're in the, business of going live and going on air, one more thing we'd like to break here is that we never take callers live. It is dangerous to do. I'll tell you an example. So I got a request once where the guy was like, my wife has fought with me. Can you please convince her? If an RJ calls, maybe my marriage will work. that was the request. So I just wanted to be the nice RJ, and I made that call. And I was about to take her live on air and make it romantic, but something inside me said, Sano, do not do it. Do not
pre-record her.
Pre-record her. So I took her on air and she told me stories about her husband. I said, I have this record. If anything happens to you, you can come back to me and you can use use this as
proof.
Proof.
Of course.
Right? So, yeah.
Oof.
And one other thing which happened to me live, by the way, is I was doing this evening show, right? You know how it is, lighthearted.
Yes.
So I was like, the results had come, 12th results. So I said, I'm going to keep the show lighthearted. Students, if you're listening to me, who's the one person who's pestering you about marks? Give me the number. I'll call them and roast them on it.
Nice.
Okay, so I called.
Nice. It's like, I'll do it. Very good.
So I called a mother. So this guy said, Sano, this lady works in my company. You give her a call and she's a terrible mother. So I was armed with everything to roast her, and then she roasted me. So she was like, my daughter actually failed in the exam and you're calling me and you're saying this. You know how horrible my daughter is? I was so embarrassed because it felt like my mother was shouting at me on radio.
Yeah, we get yelled at.
Yeah, so we never do these things live. But I enjoyed the roasting anyways. I learned a lesson that day.
You got roasted. Well, nice. Ooh, what's the one thing that people don't know about radio presenters?
So much.
First of all, they can't see us, so they don't know our face.
Yeah.
But that used to be in the times of Amin Sayani. Now, because of social media, they know a lot. In fact, they know too much. However, the one thing that you don't know about radio presenters is that they prep. This is not a hobby. It's a real job. We are expected to put in 8 hours of work every day. We're not lucky because we meet celebrities, because we really need to actually work for all of our questions and answers with them. But sometimes we don't have any of the public holidays. Like for 16 years, I haven't had a Diwali. And that's the truth. So they don't know the sort of hard work that goes into being a radio presenter. And and we work crazy hours, We come before 7 a.m. to the studio and then we leave sometimes at 7 p.m. So I just feel like, give us this cred that we also work hard. Like they think we're just jolly and
talking.
Just, आपको तो कितना आसान काम है, आपको सिर्फ आके 3 घंटे बोलना है. So that's not true. Yeah.
And also, we're sorry, because there's a disappointment rule, because when they hear your voice, they expect you to look gorgeous.
Hey, of course. I have no problem in that department.
Because it happened to me once. So I finished my show and the guy outside like, can you please introduce me to RJ Sano? Okay, so I was in my worst dress. My hair was bad. And I didn't want to break it to him that I am RJ Sano and this is how I look.
Oh, no. So did you go into hair, makeup, come back saying, it's me?
Yeah, so that's one expectation they have. They expect you to match the voice. The voice is like this, a person also has to look like that. And also, because they're salaried employees, one thing they don't know about RJs is that we also have to apply for, loans.
Loans?
Yeah.
Oh God, this is getting real, this podcast. I'm not ready for that. That was a glamour podcast.
And all the stars make us wait.
That's a good one.
All the stars make you wait, and how?
Yeah. One day we'll make them wait.
Rohini?
After this podcast. Then they'll be like, I want to interview this person.
Then, because you're a radio jockey, has there been any advantage, Yes, I got 20 rupees discount because I was an RJ. So I went to a shop. Okay. And this Eid night, so I was shopping and I didn't have, and I was fighting with that guy, I don't have change, I need whatever. Then on Google Pay, my name showed up as RJ Sano. You're RJ Sano, 20 rupees discount.
Maaf.
So,
Kya baat hai?
So that's been one of the greatest moments as a radio jockey.
Fantastic. I love it. 20 rupees discount, madam.
What's one non-negotiable for you when it comes to your work?
Oh, prep. I mean, I can't, it might sound repetitive and, at the risk of sounding like I have no other life, it's a non-negotiable. You can't just go on the air and, pull a show out of your backside. It doesn't work like that. So for people who think that, you want to be an RJ because it's an easy job, I would say no, that's a non-negotiable for me.
In terms of trying to do different every day. You're as good as your last show. Yeah, it's really that simple, And by the way, one thing you don't know about RJs is that our links get pulled out and our programming directors listen to it and tell us how bad or good we are.
Oh my God, air checks. Oh my God. I lived and died in air checks. Oof.
So, yeah. So your appraisal happens once a year, no? Our appraisal happens every day, just letting you know. So we really take care of, quality when it comes to on air. You can't decide to think on air or just randomly say jokes and think you're really funny and try your new content. You can't do all of that. Your appraisal happens every day. Yeah.
That's lovely. That's amazing. Okay, let's pick this up. What is the proudest moment in your career?
Wow. The proudest moment was when I was there for my city. This was the year 2015. Floods happened to Chennai city. And I was luckily in an area where there was no water. So I was on air radio. I was talking to the whole city. I was connecting them with authorities. And, I saw the whole city come together. I saw all communities come together. And that was the proudest moment. And after that, I was invited on stage. I got felicitated by the whole city, thanking me for that. So that was my real proud moment. And one other proud moment was, so it just happened randomly that, somebody messaged saying, some of this girl is missing. So I went on air and with my co-host, Mr. Sanjay Pinto, we took this up and it snowballed and they found the girl in about
amazing.
In 2 weeks. The thing about the girl is she couldn't speak and she couldn't hear.
Oh my God.
So she, even if somebody found her, she wouldn't be able to say who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's indeed proudest moment.
Oh my God, you are a superhero. I hope you know that. This is amazing.
Thank you so much.
So I have two distinctly different ones. One is every time someone says, oh my God, you're RJ Rohini. I think that to me is every time. I mean, it never gets old. When someone messages me saying, oh my God, I listen to you on the radio right now. I think I live that on a daily basis. I love it. I love it. But I remember when I moved countries and I moved to Singapore, and it was a new city and it was a completely new environment. But the basics of radio jockeying are the same. So if you've got a good base and you've got solid principles that you can walk on, and then within like the first couple of months of being there were some awards. And I remember as an Indian presenter speaking in Hindi, I won an award. That was the best radio presenter in Singapore. And that beat, my friends from the Chinese station, from the English radio stations, which is obviously like the most listened to, the Malay stations and the Tamil stations. And that to me was so big for my little station, which was a small 3-hour Bollywood band. It was just the NRI radio station. But to me, it just made me feel really proud because it gave my radio station an identity that it deserved. So that to me I was really proud. Oh my God, I was standing there and like nobody was there, because you're in another country. And my mom wasn't there and my dad wasn't, around that year. So yeah, that was the best moment.
It's a tough one. I'm sorry, Rohini. I'm going to ask you. Can you remember a time when you felt you just couldn't do your job?
Never. There's never been a time that I could not do my job. I'm one of those people who wakes up saying, I need to talk. I need to talk to people. I need to give them my opinion. I watch film. I want to tell my audience about it. I experience a great restaurant. I want to come back and, wax eloquent about it. I meet people. They change my life. They touch my life. I want to talk about it. I do a great interaction. There has never been a time, and, it might seem very unidimensional that radio jockeys are also humans and we have really crazy or regular lives, right? Where you have the same ups and downs as other people. So you also face, loss, and you also face grief, and you lose your absolutely, closest to you. And I remember a time when I was going through that, and this was when I unfortunately lost my partner. And I remember a lot of people, and I had been married since 2013. And unfortunately, I lost my partner in 2017. So it was just like 5 years. And I remember very distinctly a lot of people asking around me, what will she do now? And I was like, what will I do? I'll do what I do now. And I remember literally 2 weeks in, the only thing I wanted to do was get back on the air. And I went back on the air. And I just went back on the air. I was just like, you know what? I know how to do this. I may not know how to navigate my grief. I may not know how to navigate my life. But the one thing I do know is how to host and present a radio show. And that brings back normalcy into your life, right? Any ritual will bring back normalcy into your life. At every point when I thought I was lost, radio saved me.
I'd agree with you. I'm really, really sorry about your loss. And that shows what a professional you are at the end of the day. When you switch on the mic, it doesn't matter if you're cramping or you're fighting with someone. You may switch on the mic and fight with that person. We're great actors, guys, when it comes to switching on the mic. We'll be having a massive fight. But when we switch on the radio, you better be good. That's how it is. For me, I had given birth... I was 3 months, I had given birth and I was back on air.
Yes, I remember that, of course.
Yeah, so, my husband had to pretend to be the breast and he was with the feeding bottle in the morning at 7. So I had to be on air and I was feeling extremely guilty and I felt like I was doing the greatest mistake of my life. But then I'd say some of my best shows happened there and I also realized the amount of stress I could actually handle.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That was a measure of my strength and radio saved me.
Yeah, it's an everyday job. Like, that's what I think people don't get. Like, we have to do this every day, guys. Diwali. No Diwali. Have you ever said or done anything on air that you regret? There used to be a phase where it was every day. Every day.
So many times.
The beginning is always like that, right?
No? I know, tell me about it. So many things. I told like cricket one day, suddenly, it was the score, right, of the entire team. I made it look like, the cricketer had scored 235 runs by himself.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
Not just that, there's once a government official, and he forgot that... it was a worm. He said tick, tick, tick. In the water, you'll see tick, 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 right? That's what he said. So, I forgot what to call it at that point of time. So I also said, yes, a lot of tick, tick, tick in water. So I've had those embarrassing moments. Yeah.
Oh my God. I've had too many. Of course. Of course. I don't think you regret it. You just acknowledge and move on. Like, you might give a wrong score because, see, guys, it's still a live medium, right? There are stories that are developing. There are scores that are unfolding. There could be names that you could take wrong. So there is human error. The greatest thing about radio, and Sanu will vouch for this, every time you make a mistake, your programming head will be listening.
Yes.
And that's the only link they'll listen to. And then they'll walk into your studio saying, what a dumb link. What was that? You didn't say this and you didn't say that. And you're like, just being really silly and stupid. It's happened to me so much. So I may not regret it, but my programming had definitely regretted at that point having me on the air that day.
It was like, Sanu, what is tick, 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 Sanu?
Tick, tick, tick. Love it. Too many of those.
And the audience had a blast. And that's when they also realized that...
we're human?
Yeah, we're human.
Yes.
Have you not switched on the mic and you forgot that you've turned... By the way, you have an option of going live and record. How many times have you gone live and, you've chatted...
Forgotten to switch on the mic. And there's a producer who comes running in and looks at you saying, mic chalu nahi hai. And then you're like, 30 seconds, only music has been on. My greatest link has not been heard. Great. And then you switch on your mic saying, bhai aur behno. Yeah. Your turn now.
What's the one thing that you wish you could change about the radio industry or the profession?
Ooh.
You've been waiting for this, no?
The only way to change anything is to do it. So I think just by doing and being in the medium every day, I think there are changes that we are bringing into the medium. I always believe you can tell that a medium is not healthy the minute you have the same people who are doing the same thing for many years. And by that, I mean that if there's no new blood, so if there's a film industry, right? Even today, if you say that your only 3 heroes are Shah Rukh, Salman, Amir, it means that your medium is not growing, right? And that's why you have Ranveer and that's why you have Ranbir. And every generation has their new heroes. I truly believe that the only time radio can make a leap is if you constantly introduce new heroes. And that is on us, for the ones like who've been here for many, many years. It's our job to train, nurture, and nourish new talent, because only with new talent can you find a new expression, and then the medium will kind of change what it's already. It has to evolve with the times. So that's my only sort of piece of advice to anybody watching this. If you think that you want to be on radio, just come, be part of this amazing medium, because the advantages are so many. I just feel like, don't write it off as a medium that, that your parents listen to, because it's not. It's so relevant even today.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to change about the radio industry is we should do what the West is doing. They talk about politics. They talk about sex. Here we have to do everything indirectly. Just to give you an example, suppose a raid is happening at someone's house. What we do on air is like, can I raid your fridge and see what's inside, right? So we have to find ways to talk about it. You cannot talk about it directly. I think we should talk about it. It'd be very explosive.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Private FM doesn't have that luxury in India, because government does not allow you to talk about sex, politics, and religion on private FM. It's not even talked about on the government channel for that reason, for that matter. But yeah, I mean, if they do, it's a tough one though, because especially with politics and with mass mediums, I will hold my silence and I'm okay with that. I will not give you my political opinion, because the day I give you my political opinion, as much as I think it's right, the guy who holds the opposite opinion also has his right to say the same thing. So I'm willing to hold my silence so that an idiot doesn't have to, not keep his. So I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the way radio functions, with no sex, no politics, and no religion. I'm okay with it.
No, I want more. Because, that is such an important part of our life, right? All these three. Religion, I understand. I don't want to talk about religion, but certainly sex and politics, we should and must discuss it. And I think it'll take a conversation to a whole new level. It'll be violent, but it'll not be like the TV channels.
No, that's the thing, right? So, like today, how many presenters are in every city? There's top 30 radio jockeys in every city. Even if there are 4 or 5 radio stations into like 4 or 5 time bands. Now you are those 30 most lucky, coveted. The reason why we do get the little bit of bhav we get is because in an entire city, there's only 30 of us. And it's amazing to find 30 people who would have the heft, the intelligence, and the maturity to hold conversations about sex and politics and religion. I don't think we're ready. I don't think we're ready. So.
That's why I said it's a wish.
It's a wish. But fun. If not radio, what would you have done instead?
Please, there's only no such answer to this question. Once I discovered there's a medium where you can do things in the most entertaining way, it had to be. Can you imagine me as a doctor? Do you know how disastrous it would have been? Or can you imagine me being anywhere else? It would be a disaster.
Tick, tick, tick.
Tick, 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 tick.
There's actually a song, tick, 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 tick. So you wouldn't be anything else but a radio presenter. That's amazing. That's amazing. If not radio, what else? So I wanted to always be a writer/filmmaker. So that's where I would have been. Or if I don't do this now, that's where I will be. But honestly, this has been such a richly rewarding career. I started it, only for the money. And I have no qualms in saying that. Mumbai girls have no option. We are doing everything for the money. Right now, I just think I work so hard so that I can pay my driver. That's okay. But that's the truth. But I did not think that it'll last me 17 years. And happily so. So, yeah, I'm grateful. At the start of this, I said that this is one of those beautiful mediums where, you're literally marked on what you say, right? And not what you look like, not what gender you are. And I have always seen women thrive in this medium, because here you are doing what you're supposed to do, which is give your opinion. So never.
Yeah, it's true. Women do extremely well in this medium. And lots of love to all the women radio jockeys who are, spearheading the morning shows and the evening shows, and also making the radio station extremely profitable. Aha! What is the one thing you wish you could do on air, but you're not allowed to?
You would like to talk about sex, politics, and religion.
By the way, just to let you guys know that, imagine if you break the broadcasting rules. Is the first thing that as soon as you get your radio job and you're thinking you're going to entertain the city, what do? They scare the living daylights out of you. What happens, Rohini?
Oh, you get a notice served. Your radio station may or may not take your site. They'll bench you, which is like they'll put you off the air for a couple of months without a salary. And then, it's too much. So you don't break broadcasting code for sure. So yeah, we've never really abused on air. Never.
Yeah.
However, if there's something, I don't think there's anything that I would have wanted to do that I have not done already. Because that to me is the worst way to live. To want to do something and not be able to do it. I have done everything I wanted to do. Everything. You imagine it, I've done it. Okay. So have we shaved people's men's chests on radio? We've done it. Have we got people tattoos because we wanted to send them to South Africa to watch the IPL game? We've done it. That boy is still roaming around with one tattoo somewhere. It's a real tattoo. Have we shaved people's head? We've done it. Have we shaved people's eyebrows? We've done it. There's a lot of shaving, as you can see. Have we made them drink, water in which socks were dipped for 2 days? Yes. Have we made them make aloo parathas in the studio? Yes. Have we put them on hot air balloons and let them go? Yes. Have we taken a flight full of listeners from Singapore to India to see Taj Mahal? Yes. So we've done everything. Yeah. And I think that that's the beauty of this medium, right? There are so many things that you can do on the radio because you have so little. And you've always had so less. When you don't have enough, you improvise, and that's where you take off. So I think that this medium has truly given me the chance to do everything I have ever dreamt, thought, or considered. So
yeah, I agree. Did we light up an entire bridge and cheer for CSK and go viral? Yes. So,
exactly.
Have we sent people to go and watch the World Cup? But we didn't get tickets, by the way. RGs were not given tickets. Listeners were given tickets. Did that happen?
Yes. Yes.
Did we give away fridge, AC, everything to everybody that your house actually needs? Have you given it to somebody else? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Suddenly this has become a very depressing episode because we realize we have given more than we have received. No, but we've received a lot of love. I mean, we've gotten so much love. So yeah, thank you. Radio, thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's an honor. So thank you to radio.
Thanks, Anu. It was so nice getting to know you through this.
Thank you, super heroine Rohini. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much.